Chairman Cheng Diaz, Chairman Peisch, members of the committee. I'll apologize in advance if I have a little spasm in my throat. Thank you for the opportunity to speak today. My name is Kate Carpenter Bernier, and I'm the principal of the Match Community Day Charter Public School in Jamaica Plain, which opened in August and is specifically designed to serve English language learners. We currently educate 100 students in grades pre-K to 2, and will eventually grow to a 700-student pre-K to 12 school. Match Community Day is one of the new replication schools opened by proven providers that were created by the 2010 Education Reform Law. Our parent schools, Match in Boston and Community Day in Lawrence, both have long track records, closing the achievement gap for low-income and minority students in Boston and Lawrence. Community Day has been particularly successful at educating English language learners. It seemed natural for us at Match and Community Day would partner on a new Boston-based school that addressed the needs of an underserved population and respond to the state's desire for charters to enroll more ELLs. I'm proud to say that nearly 80% of our current students are ELLs. Cape Verdean Creole, Spanish, Haitian Creole, Portuguese, Chinese, Arabic, Somali, and Vietnamese are some of the languages spoken in our students' homes. And I want to share a little bit about how we conducted our outreach efforts. We began in the December break last year with a dozen staff and volunteers who spoke Boston's most dominant languages. Many of those volunteers were current students at Match High School and their relatives and friends. We coordinated with social services and community groups like the Dudley Street Neighborhood Initiative, Hyde Square Task Force, Haitian American Public Health Initiative, the African Community Economic Development Organization, and Via Aid. We advertised in multiple languages in community papers. We went to places of worship, bodegas, hair salons, Head Starts, anywhere we thought parents of young children might be. And we went anytime. So if there was a church service going on a Wednesday night or a mosque service on a Friday, we sent people there. We were there. And we mobilized a lot of people to do that. An important piece of our outreach was facilitated by the Education Reform Law's requirement that BPS share parent mailing lists with charter public schools. So as much work as we had been doing, it really was a pretty big shift in the number of applications that we received after we did the mailings to students who are currently enrolled in BPS. We did multiple mailings to the parents of current K0 students and first graders. So our two entering grades this year are, we have K1, which is 4-year-old kindergarten, and we have grade 2. So we were mailing to children who are in what's called K0, so 3-year-old kindergarten, and current first graders in their home languages to let them know about the school. And also to let them know, to correct some misconceptions that a lot of folks have about charter schools. BPS also provided us with LEP and NEPA data that saved us from having to administer additional placement tests to determine students' English proficiency levels after they came in. I just want to also say another thing about BPS's cooperation and collaboration with us, just in the line of the special ed. About 13% of our children are IEPs. We have 2 children who are autistic and require full-time one-on-one aids. BPS's special ed department has been tremendous at getting us all of their records and their background information, which has really helped facilitate the services that we can provide to those children and their families. I'm actually a former employee of the BPS, and I went through the Principal Fellows Program. One of my goals in coming to Match is to bridge the gap between district and charter schools. Chair Cheng Diaz, I actually invited you to the Tobin K school when I was a principal fellow there. And I still continue to collaborate as much as possible. We collaborate with the central office, Court Street, but then we also collaborate as much as possible with principals on the ground and staff people. We have much to learn from each other. We want to develop an environment of collaboration and leave divisiveness in the back. Eileen Dedes-Reyes, who heads the Department of Language Learner Services at BPS, actually just stopped by our school Match Community Day yesterday, and I'm hoping that she'll come and do a full tour and give us feedback on how well we're doing. In terms of our curriculum, we use a sheltered English immersion as required by the Commonwealth. In an 8-hour school day, all students work on literacy for 3.5 hours. All students receive intensive 1-on-2 tutoring, 1.5 to 2 hours a day. We focus on phonics, oral language development, academic vocabulary, and other proven methods for ELLs like using visuals and realia, graphic organizers, and intentional repeated physical modeling. We have, all of our teachers have taken and passed it ESL MTEL, and are just awaiting licensure notification from the state. A lot of our teachers, we did a national search for our teachers, and a lot come from different states where they were teaching ELLs or worked in bilingual schools. They've also taken Category 1 training and are taking Category 3 for the MELA O in December with the faculty at the Blackstone Elementary, which is also a BPS turnaround school and also a school with which we have a partnership. We employ 20 full-time tutors, all of whom have taken the ESL MTEL as well, and they participate in professional development at our school led by our literacy specialist and also VLOC professor and language expert Eleonora Villegas-Reiners. As far as the tutors go, and when you're thinking about like what helps students who have been from historically underachieving communities do well, we employ 20 full-time tutors all year round, and they're doing essentially a year of service. About half of them want to go become teachers, but the other half maybe want to become doctors or lawyers or work in public policy. We targeted folks who were bilingual and bicultural. We have capacity in our school internally that we speak Haitian Creole, Cape Verdean Creole, Spanish, Arabic, Portuguese. And so we're able, that really enhances our ability to connect with families. And in terms of connecting with families, we feel like we're just at the beginning of getting our children to college, and parents are enormously important to that. We've had, so far, just since school started, we've had 2 well-attended parent nights focused on literacy and academics. It's pretty amazing. We do a workshop method to watch parents who themselves are ELLs learning to use flashcards and letters and sounds so they can better help their children. At all of our events, we offer childcare, we offer interpreters so everybody can participate and learn. We call our families 3 times a week. In most cases, we have a staff member who can speak in the family's language to the parent. But when we don't, we have an automatic service. So if I needed to call somebody in the case of an emergency, I can call and get on a 3-way call and have somebody interpret for me. I do want to say that we were a while back referred to as an anomaly amongst charter schools because we have now have such a high percentage of ELLs. But the reality is that Massachusetts charters have worked really hard to serve underserved children and bridge the achievement gap for the strangles their futures. Charters are overwhelmingly located in urban areas and serve high percentages of poor and minority students who may not be ELL, but nonetheless come from disadvantaged backgrounds and represent a highly challenging population. Charters are doing an amazing job of customizing the programs to the unique program populations they serve. For instance, Bridge Boston, which is also a newly approved charter school, focused outreaches on their outreach on families who are homeless, and now they have more high-needs children living in shelters than, say, we do. Our school is an extension of these sorts of conscientious efforts, I would argue, rather than an